Some people can get by with just being respected. Some people get higher for being feared.
Hello and welcome. Mike Tyson, also known as Iron Mike, became the youngest heavyweight champion in history at the age of 20. As a member of various street gangs at an early age, he was sent to a reform school in upstate New York. At the reform school, social worker and boxing aficionado Bobby Stewart recognized Mike Tyson's boxing potential and introduced him to renowned trainer Cus D'Amato. Cus D'Amato later became Mike Tyson's legal guardian. After a 3-year break from boxing because Mike Tyson was serving time in prison, he came back to the ring. He wound up finishing his boxing career with 50 wins, 44 by knockout, in 58 fights. And regardless of what you may think of him,
I don't think I have it anymore because I got the ability to stay in shape, but I don't got the fighting guts, I don't think, anymore.
Mike Tyson was one of the most successful people in history in his field, and there's much to learn from him and his life. As a boxer, as with many careers, including that of an entrepreneur, your success depends on your ability to make quick decisions. Probably the biggest fear is that those decisions may lead to bad results. That may cause you to compensate by overthinking the situation, causing you to question every aspect involved in the decision. Ultimately, you run the risk of making no decisions at all because you waste time and energy on useless questioning. Instead, you should see delaying a decision as worse than making a bad decision and work directly on quick decision-making skills.
The last 5 years to live my life is like a productive citizen in society.
You can recover and learn something by making bad decisions, but by not making a decision at all, you risk a lot more than a bad decision. Fear of failure means that something or someone will make that decision for you, which you will probably end up regretting. It's important to overcome your fear and make fast decisions. It's rarely the case that the best decision to make is to not make one at all. Our lives are defined by our ability to make decisions. Our careers, relationships, health, anything and everything about yourself boils down to the decisions you've made. Learning to make quick decisions when it's crunch time can end up saving you a lot of time and anxiety.
I won titles, I had everything in the world, but I still had that darkness in me.
What I found out in life, as life goes on, life is about losing. As we get older, we lose our hair, we lose our teeth, we lose our mothers, our fathers, our sisters, but it's the ones who overcome their lost in life, could shun away adversity and always willing to fight it every particular moment in life. You know what I mean? A good fight is just to be diligent and committed and disciplined, doing what you hate to do, but do it like you love it. You know, always testing yourself and forcing yourself to the limits, you know? If you know you if you love women, then deny yourself that. You know what I mean? That's what success in general is all about, sacrifice. From my experience, of any little success I may have had, is be willing to sacrifice, you know. Unfortunately, sometimes you can't have fun accomplishing your goals. And when sometimes people don't have the determination, the will, and the steadfastness, the tenacity, they give in under the slightest struggle.
And so ever since my friend died, I stayed up there and I never came back, and I became successful. I became champion at 20 years old, the youngest champion ever. But I still had that darkness in me. I had hundreds of millions, I had money, but I still had that darkness in me. That darkness wasn't out of me yet. And I got in a whole bunch of trouble. I got involved with people who had made me no good. And I lost a lot of money. I kept getting lawsuits. Lawsuits this, lawsuit here, lawsuit here. And most of my money I've tricked off on lawsuits. If I spend $250 million on girls and trips and clothes, that's nothing to what I did on lawsuits, okay? So they really got me good with those lawsuits, and I still didn't have peace. I still had that old darkness from back before, because, you know, of course, my father and mother, they're addicts, and I'm not fighting anymore, and I have nothing to do. Why not I become an addict? Because that's just how it goes, right? So I become this addict now, because I always drank my whole life, never stopped drinking.
When I was in the detention home, you know, it's almost like it's considered like the hole for the juvenile detention. It's like the hole, so I'm in the back room in the hole. But I see, through my window, I see people from the other side getting carried in on the other side. and they got like ribs are hurting and they got eye, the jaw, they got ice pack, but they're happy. So I said, what's going on over there? I'm thinking like, oh, we having a war, we having a gang fight over there. Yeah, let's war. But these guys are happy. No, they said, we're boxing with Mr. Stewart. And so I watched these guys and I said, what? Did you see these guys getting hurt ribs, bruised jaw, eye, and but they're happy that they went through this. So I said, well, I can go over there and beat this guy. He was no big guy. I was a heavy set guy. He was like 165, 70 pound white guy, slim. I could go slug him. You know, now that I'm wow, that's so crazy. Now that I'm experienced, I've never felt that feeling again. Now sometimes when I used to box, boom, he hit me, you feel that same feeling, but it goes away within seconds. But being a young kid, you don't know it's gonna go away within seconds. So within those 3 seconds, 4 seconds.
Well, from what I can remember from the day I was born, it was always hard times, welfare, not much food, no money, crime-infested neighborhoods, murders, pimps, prostitutes, drugs, and it was survival of the fittest. I had an older brother who was 5 years older than me, so he didn't spend much time around the house. He was in the programs. He was very smart and intelligent. He was the special kid on the block that was always in school. Me and my sister got caught up in the street life. I was bullied a lot as a kid. I used to have pigeons, and one particular time some bully grabbed one of my pigeons and ripped his head off, and that was the first time I ever got into a fight. And I kind of like won. I was young, like 9, but I kind of like won. I like fighting ever since because it gave me attention. People would say, hey, you was that guy that beat that big kid up. You was that guy. And I was like, everybody knew me from that incident. And so after that, older kids would bring other kids from different neighborhoods around my neighborhood, and they would pay us to fight each other, and that's how I started fighting. I probably had